So, welcome everybody. Today, I'm very pleased to have Rajita join me in the Blueprints for Success. Thank you very much for joining. So, you're a technology demand management senior specialist. It's quite a long term, and an established business analyst. You've also worked in the community, the IRBA community, quite broadly. And I do see that you do quite a lot of posting online as well in LinkedIn. Welcome. It's great to have you join me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajay. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me a platform to share my experience and my insights on business analysis. This is very close to my heart, though I have worked in different roles, but majority of my career I have been in a business analysis space. And I would like to take this opportunity to inspire someone who would like to step into business analysis or those who are into a BA role and would like to know what are the opportunities in front of them. So I hope my experience can help them in getting some insights on this space. Yeah.
Awesome. So maybe let's start with you. So
Yeah.
tell me a bit about who Rajita is, what you're passionate about. If you want to share any hobbies or things that might surprise people, please feel free to do that. So tell me about you.
So I'm Rajita. I'm connecting from Dubai now. I have been in the region for 15 years. I'm from India. So I'm in the technology space for past 20 years and I'm a senior business analyst. I have also done project management, product owner roles, but business analysis is something very close to my heart and I'm very passionate about when it comes to understanding more the trends and educating people about business analysis and applying the practices in my organization. It ignites the energy in me when I have to do some, when I get an opportunity to do that. A bit of my professional background. So I have worked in different regions and especially in MENA. And in US, I was there for a couple of years and in India. And I have worked in different organizations from well established CMM5 companies to the companies which are in early formation stage. So I feel that range of experience has given me a lot of perspectives on how organization dynamics works, working in different business domains as well. So in my 20 years, I have moved from health insurance to airlines to banking and also with the e-government services for a few years. And currently I'm with the telco asset management company. So moving across domains, but applying the principles of business analysis has widely helped me in building up my skills. And also it always gives a new perspective about organization and business. So that's pretty much my background in what I do. And apart from that, I'm a mother of two kids and I would characterize myself as someone who is eager to learn new things. So I keep upskilling myself. I learn new technologies and the agile practices, the better ways of working. And also, I see my strength is in implementing process and structures. For me, it is like putting things in order. When I get an opportunity, I like to put templates, process, and standards, which I think has come from my first organization. The frameworks and standards were very much in place, and that gave me a strong foundation later in my career.
Mm. Mm. So you pretty well traveled. And what made you decide Dubai versus the US or somewhere else? Were there any key drivers around Dubai?
It was, I would say, an accidental move, or but I love the place. So it was because when I got married, my husband was here, so I moved to Dubai. But definitely, I loved the work about how the business analysis practice is more stabilized in the US region compared to how in the MENA region. So that differences I could see, but it gives me an opportunity to bring those and apply it here. That's the whole reason I wanted to start a chapter here in UAE
Yeah.
because I see there are roles in organization, but they are not as a center of excellence for BA practices or not utilizing the IIBA best practices, frameworks, tools. So there is plenty of wealth of resources and support there, but it's not aware or it's not implemented. That's my reason I really want an IBA chapter to be formed in UAE, and which encourages the business analyst here in the community to grow and build their skill set. Mostly today, I have seen is they do business analysis by common sense, what comes in the way. But
Yeah.
once you have tools and practices, it helps in making things much efficient and standardized way of working. Yeah, that is something I would really like to add in this region.
Mm, mm. I think it's wonderful. So well done on that. And also just building the community, sharing different thoughts and experiences, because not everything's exactly the same in all the different areas. So
Yeah.
sharing, that's awesome. So, how did you get involved in terms of the IRBA? What were your thoughts around setting up the chapter?
So to set up the start chapter, it's still in the formation stage. I got to list all the formalities, the membership needed for that. So I'm still working on the prerequisites, and
Okay.
I'm gathering the business analysts I know from my previous organizations to form. Yeah, since it's outside the normal work project, I wanted to put some core time to it to establish it. But we are in a very early stage, and in this year, I would like to promote that and bring it to a structure.
All right. So, can you tell me a little bit about your how you got involved in business analysis? What were your motivations? How did you get started with that?
Okay. So I would say it is like a serendipity. It's an luck by accident how I got into business analysis, and it was in the very early years of my career. I completed my computer science, and I joined as a fresher with Infosys. Infosys is a technology consulting company based in India. They have clients across the globe. So that was a good opportunity. I started as a developer in mainframes, and in the 2 years' time, I got a role as an opportunity to as an on-site assignment in a business analyst role. So it was like a double promotion kind of a feeling for me because you get an on-site opportunity, a client-facing role at the same time as a new role. So it had
Mm,
its own challenges on how do I cope up with the learning curve and how do I add value as that role. And for me, at that stage of the career, the business analysis was new. I didn't know even how value added role it is. Fortunately, from Infosys being a process oriented, a CMFI company, they equipped with all that you need to swim into the ocean. So they gave a boot camp training in business analysis, they
nice.
assigned mentors, gave all the support system. So that was my first two projects. I think I was learning while doing the job, but I feel it was comfortable because I was supported with all that was needed to do the role. I jumped into business analysis without knowing much about it, but as I explored the projects and the value and the respect the role gets, what you can bring as a change in business, like the absence of the role is clearly seen many times when things are not put in right, especially the problem statements involving the right stakeholders and making that effective decision making with all stakeholders. So it's a very key role, not seen very visibly, but you will see when it is not present or not
Yeah.
effectively done, you will
Yeah.
definitely see the failures in the project. So over the years, I learned a lot. So that's how I started with business analysis. And I'm very glad that I got that opportunity, though I never pursued for it. And I was able to build on that over the years in
Mm,
different organization and different projects. And still, it's a learning today. Also, if I look at IAB, if I look at business architecture, there's still a lot I have to learn and implement. So I never got bored with the projects because every project is different, every problem is different, every stakeholder is different. So it's every day a new aspects of business analysis.
mm. I'd agree with you. And it's good insight because when you see good business analysis, it's almost invisible, right? Because it's just been done properly. But when you see it not done well, then there's a ricochet effect with all the different projects and the outcomes. Someone said to me once that good design is invisible,
Mm.
and because you just feel it. It's not something that you can point
Yeah.
exactly to what it is. So I like that. That makes makes sense.
Yeah.
So were there any key turning points in your career or key experiences that you went through as part of the business analysis career?
Yeah. So I would say each organization or even each business has molded my thinking process and the learning curves, not only the soft skills, but also in understanding different business and domains. I would say two key things. One is, of course, my foundation was laid in a good, I would say for everyone, a start in a good structured company helps so that you know the best practices, the standards and templates. And then you get a balance. Do you work in a different organization where things are in forming stage or it's a chaos, but you get there and you try to put process and you see the practicality of how difficult sometimes things are to put it in order. So a good balance of both type of organization in my career had helped me see the theoretical part as well as the practical aspects of implementing strong business analysis practices. So that's one key turning point, I would say, working in MENA for a couple of organizations where the IT structure and the business analysis as a practice was just forming me being as a first team member. So it helped me in going with the flow and implementing things slowly, which I had learned in my early career stage. That is one forming stage. Other, I would say, key turning point are the people you come across in your career journey, and especially the managers with whom you work for. So, someone I would like to commend is my manager who always reflected me like as a mirror to me, showing me my strengths. Sometimes we are not sure where you are good at and where you need more work on. So reflecting and strengthening, and that helps you in performing at your best of the potential. So when you are backed up with the feedback that this is your strength and this is where you should go. So those kind of people who I have worked in the organization help me shape me as a person. So yeah, I would say the experience of organization and people together was very crucial.
Mm. Yeah, I'd agree. And forming those relationships and going through all those changes in business is important. And having a good manager, that
Yeah.
really does help. Not so much in just in the confidence, also
Yes.
helping make sure that you're going in the right direction. And they don't happen often. It just
It's very
depends.
difficult. Now you
Yeah.
normally don't get that people who are interested to show you your path. So that's very fortunate, and I feel that is something as a leader when I would be leading a team also. That's something I would like to see, like how you look at people more from their grooming perspective. Also, something I would like to just quote as which was not in my side when she explained me in my one of the performance, like your performance is like a pyramid, and the bottom part of the pyramid is a choreography. Choreography is how the stage is set, how you enter, what time you open the curtain. So that sets the initial standards for your performance, and then is your technical skills, and then is your leadership skills and your peak performance. Something I always used to overlook is the preparation for a meeting, how you start the meeting, how you manage the time of the meeting, and how much pre-work you do, how do you align the people. So those are small things. You always focus on the technical core aspects, but
Yeah.
you little overlook the small. So something when a feedback came in a very way, I think it struck me on to
Yeah.
implement that in my day-to-day career and practice. So that's how I felt like when you get a right feedback and when you give a right information, the way it strikes the person, it's easy to implement and improve on the way they work.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what you're saying is if you have the clear vision of what's expected from you, and you literally had the vision, but it really makes it easier to know what to do next. And I
Yeah.
suppose sometimes as BAs, that's the role as well, to give that clear picture of what's next,
Hmm.
to help other users through the changes that are occurring in the organization.
Yeah.
So, in your own words, how would you describe the importance of business analysis in today's organizations? Because there must be so much change happening over and over.
So, especially in today's organization where the market conditions are changing very frequent, there is technology trends, there's AI adoption, there's everywhere a need of transformation. So, considering it and a business as usual nature, the role of BA versus an environment where things are constantly evolving and changing, I think the if BA practice is being utilized in its best way with an empowered way of role, it definitely helps and drive the organization to go through those changes, especially from a data-driven decision. As a BA, you can bring all the insights, the different perspectives for us for a good decision making approach for the management. Also, you can drive the transformation changes. I always found the strength as a BA role is you get to see every perspective than any other role in the project. You get to see the business perspective, you get to see the IT, the infrastructure, the developments perspective, security, cyber. So you get to see the compliance aspects. So as a BA, you are like you get the insights from everyone and you bring everyone together. That's your strength. So instead of going in silos, so in so that's why I feel in today's organization, the business analysis is it could be any role. It need not be a business analyst or a product owner, whichever role is performing the business analysis as a practice. I think they should, if they are empowered to drive changes and drive transformation, it would be very beneficial for the organization. Some places, the business analysis is limited to per project, right? They assign a business analyst to go and gather requirement, get the details, but that is a very limited usage of that resource
Yeah.
where if they could stand up and see from a bigger perspective of the organization, I think the business architecture leads to that career path. But in practice, in this region, I haven't seen business architecture that maturely being utilized, and I feel that's something really would help organizations to drive transformation and changes, and also from the AI adoption perspective, right?
I'm sure I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yes, because business analysis, sometimes you have to get boots into the ground to do projects, but depending on the size of the organization, how much it change in the organization, you also want that bird's eye view. You want to be able to see all those different components. I often find that business analysts, as they become more senior, like yourself, you start itching to go into that architecture space because of knowing how all these parts intuitively work
Together.
together and how that has influenced many results, let's say,
Yes.
of what has occurred in the project itself. So, do you think today, so if you could share maybe a project or an initiative where business analysis was an absolute important critical role,
Mhm.
and what were the challenges that you faced, or what were the opportunities that were in that project?
Yep. So I always see the business analysis enabler role, and it is a value creation role if it is put it in the right place and with the right set of skill set and the right mindset. So one of the project I would say where I felt the business analysis has played a crucial role in shaping the outcome of the project was when I was with the airlines for last few years. So there was a project which is as a business need, came out from the pilot community. For that, pilot community means the pilot department head that they want to change the rostering system for the pilots. So because it's not, it is very, it can be optimized further. It has the concept of the body clock slap, like the rest period for the, it's not optimized, it's affecting the health and safety, things like that. So there were many concerns on the scheduling or the roster part. So the problem statement came, we need to change the system. The application is not good. We should go with a more more market trending product, which would give a better solution for our problems. So as a BA, when I was assigned for the project, we started with the focus groups to understand and deep dive the problem statement. As you mentioned in one of the posts, a problem well defined is the foundation. Like otherwise, you're going in a wrong direction for solving something. So in the focus group, first of all, the stakeholder identification, I feel is a crucial role which business analysis bring all the key impacted stakeholders who has influence, what's their interest in the project, bring them into a focus session and discussing the problem statement brought us a lot of insights on what each one is thinking about the problem. So it had two sides. One is the receiving end, the pilots who were getting the rosters, and the other is the planning team who had a lot of constraints to consider when they're planning a roster, like regulatory aspects, the capacity, the number of resources, how many flights we need to operate from a revenue side. So they have an n number of conditions on which they have to create a plan. And the impacted parties always feel, oh no, they also need a better way of working. So when you brought them together and we listed down, the problem identified was the business rules around which today's scheduling is happening, right? So they each one had their own reasons why the business rules are configured that way. But when we deep dive, it's not an application issue. It's on how your business rules or has to be balanced out. And as an outcome, we reworked on the business rules conditions where it can be relaxed and where it can be tightened up. And we ran a lot of sample rosters with the new set of rules, and the outcome was much better than what it was initially. So, in this, I would say it's a project to implement a new system, but it turned out to be a more of an analysis activity where you had to bring right set of people, the decision makers, get them all brainstorm together, you facilitate that discussion, and you identify where is a problem and how do you solve it without doing an additional cost or no implementation effort. You could solve that issue, right? So that's something one I feel is as a business analysis before we jump into solutioning, if we spend the time in the problem and define it well, that's a core strength the role can bring in any organization.
It's so true because often people believe that a technology is going to solve the problem, but most times that's not the real problem.
Yeah.
And as you said, really diving into understanding that problem, how does that problem affect people? And does it require such a huge change, a system change, or does it require just an understanding of, well, we can do this better? So that's a great example. Thanks for sharing.
Okay. And business analysis touches not only technology, it touches people, process, your ways of working,
Yeah.
culture, training needs, adoption. So since you touch all different aspects which is needed for a change, I think that's how, and that is a perspective as a BA and experienced BA you bring to the table. And that's why the role is so significant, I would say, if utilized well.
Yes, if utilized properly. And as a knowledge worker, not necessarily as someone who just documents requirements, but
Yeah.
actually somebody who's working as a knowledge worker. All right, let's talk about the future. So, what do you see happening in the next 5 to 10 years? Are there any specific trends? So, we talk about AI, we talk about business analysis, business architecture, various things. What do you see happening in the future?
In the next 5 to 10 years, as I briefly mentioned, the key focus areas which I see is more on the digital transformation with the new technology trends coming in and the business adoption to them, including AI adoption, how you identify the right use cases and how whether your maturity, company maturity for AI. See, all those kind of a scenario, be business analysis plays a crucial role from a skill set point of view. And there is an increased focus on governance and compliance aspects. So, which also from for each of your initiatives, looking at from those perspective is a so the BA skills I think has to be widened towards cyber security, towards more of compliance, more towards the agile way of working. and adoption. There's a lot you need to upskill or keep up to the industry's trends to add value to your organization. So I would say anyone in the space is continuous learning and curiosity to learn what is happening around, and always applying those how those skills can be utilized in your organization and drive the changes, like not to something which I learned in my late career is that you don't wait for the projects or assignments to come to you. You need to find where the opportunities are there to implement those and put it forward to your management. So that is the it's a mindset change as well as what I would say as a business analyst should take care in the coming years, because
Mm,
things are constantly changing. It's quite evolving environment compared to how it was probably 10 years before.
yeah. And it is changing quickly. When we look at the rapid adoption of AI now with generative AI, should I say, because I know it's been around for some time,
Mhm.
but that's going to be a whole new field to study, prompt engineering and various other things that business analysts will have to add now to their toolkit, that already busy toolkit
Yeah.
of working. And so when you look at AI and those type of things and compliance and cybersecurity, as you mentioned, these are very important factors. You, how do you see things happening? Because here's the problem, right? So you mentioned cybersecurity, you mentioned governance, you mentioned AI, and how we're doing digital transformation in
Mhm.
that space, which I agree with you on all of those things. So when we do projects in the future as business analysts,
Mhm.
who do you see as being part of the team that makes decisions on these things? Because traditionally, we've always had, let's say, IT come in and it's an IT project and they really make the decisions on that. But as a business analyst, some of these components are not about IT. Just like your
Yeah.
project that you explained, it wasn't an IT problem. It
Mhm.
was a
Mhm.
different problem altogether. Do you think that the team of business analysts that you work with would need to have different roles participating in the discussion around the changes?
How would I say that? So in this context, what we are looking at is in future, if we in such an environment, how
Yeah.
as a business analyst you should be placed to,
Yeah.
and who should be the decision makers you need to bring it
Yeah.
into the table, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. So I think in that context, it would be much beyond an IT project. It should be more of an organizational change project. It's not a technology project. You are looking at it more from a business project where IT, compliance, your regulatory aspects, and all aspects are bringing together. So the project has to drive from the leadership level, not only as done from an IT initiative, business leaders and the CXOs. So if the drive is from the leadership level to bring it as a business transformation project with applying the AI impact or the cybersecurity impact, and IT being looking it from a technology aspect. Yes. So as a BA, what you can play a role here is stepping up above the IT element of the project, right? You are expanding your domain more towards a business, your business acumen and a strategic thinking in those aspects. And aligning the cyber and the business. So you need to step up from an IT representation of business
Yeah.
analysis towards a strategic business analyst role and engage your senior management and presenting the impact and evaluating. Yeah, I think the future in those contexts would be it would be a more business driven projects than a technology driven projects to
Yeah.
consider these aspects.
Yes, I would say I agree because when we look at AI, people think it's technology, it should be an
Yeah,
IT project, right?
yeah.
But actually, it's changing people's roles, it's changing how we work. It's actually much broader than just here's some cool tech we want to bring in. So yeah, I think you're on it there.
And the
All right.
transformation projects we need, it has to be business driven, I always felt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't get the value what you look at from a technology driven project. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it's difficult because when you use terms like the association is this is automatically an IT thing,
Yeah, yes,
right?
yes. It boils down like,
Um, yeah.
and normally it
So,
is IT who proposes these projects and put it forward.
uh-huh,
But
yeah,
it's okay to do provided you get the stakeholders engaged and their interest and their involvement to drive things from a business perspective, because it's only an enabler, but the driver should be the business and the other parties
exactly.
involved.
Exactly. Yes. And that's one of the things that probably concerns me the most with the bringing AI is that there's this thought process that it won't affect us. It's just another IT
An IT
project.
project, yeah,
Um,
like an
whereas
RPA.
it has a really big impact on people, far beyond just bringing in a new CRM system or an ERP or any
Mhm.
of those things. So, what skills, tools, or competencies do you think business analysts will need now that we've gone into looking at the future a little bit?
Yeah. My perspective for a BA is 70% I give weightage to the interpersonal soft skills, because your role is a people oriented role, asking the right questions, bringing the right set of people to the table. The effectiveness of business analysis has a heavy dependency on your soft skills and your understanding and a business acumen to an extent. And tools and techniques definitely helps you in putting things in a systematic manner, having a good toolkit and framework, what to apply when we have plethora of tools and techniques available, but which tool to apply in which context to get the best outcome of that situation. That is something as a BA we should be filling in. And IIBA is a great platform for that. It equips you with everything you need as a tools and techniques. All you need to know is where to apply it in the right time.
Yeah.
And using that platform as a community and mentors, that helps you being from a
Mm,
just doing your work than doing it in the best manner where you can bring more value to your business.
mm,
So, yeah, in short, the key skills I would say is working a lot on your interpersonal skills. Stakeholder management
yeah.
is so crucial. Above all, the underlying mindset of more of a customer centric mindset, right? Like, I feel myself, I'm more inclined towards the user and business, how they will feel for this system or feature or process, than from an IT way. Is it easy to do or is it more work to do? So, having that empathy for your end users and customers and bringing them on board. So that's one key aspect. So these are more of a mindset aspect, soft skill aspect, and a bit on the tools and techniques.
And,
Technology always adds value if you are specialized and have a good acumen of any technology aspects as well. Yeah, so
mm,
it's like a mix of skills you bring
yeah,
it
it is.
together. I have been a very generalist business analyst where I moved across domains, and I always felt each domain I had to go through a learning curve, but it always brought me a fresh perspective. And
Mm,
um, I always felt it is good to change domain and change organization as well. So you understand things from varying way of doing things, the culture
mm,
changes. So that's why continuous learning and adaptability is a key need of the needed
mm.
skill for a business analyst.
Yeah. And I like how you raised the empathy part of being an advocate for the user
Mhm.
because there's nothing more frustrating than having a new system that you've got to adopt and trying to figure it out and then having to call help desk, right? There's
Yes.
nothing more frustrating. So keeping that process very simple and succinct. Yeah, I agree with you. And once you start doing that, you become quite, I suppose, like strong about the fact that this is not a good experience for someone to
Yeah. When you
um
put yourself in their shoes and see things,
yeah.
you for you it might feel against the need of the, that's how it is. But always
Yeah.
looking it from your customer point of view helps.
Mm.
And many times it is you step into the training, sometimes it is the adoption issues or the training
Mm.
issues, so that extended support beyond a project.
Yes.
So the outcome is the key. Like you finish a project, sometimes you go live and that's it. No, but then after that, how business is
You still,
utilizing it,
yeah.
how are they
Mm.
adopting it, where are they reaping the benefits. So the BA role, from benefit identification to benefit realization, that is something very tangibly you feel proud about. Like when you start with putting up a business case and you assume a benefit, and when you implement it and measure the benefits and see it's bringing the results, that's a very fulfilling part of the role. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point there. Okay, so for people who want to get into business analysis, could you maybe give some advice for those who say, this looks like something I could do? What advice would you give them?
So, those who want to get into business analysis, I would advise it's a very value added role. And if you are interested in bridging business, you have an interest in understanding how your business works, and you have an empathy towards your business, and at the same time you understand how systems and technology works, and bridging that role is something you like to bring clarity, you like to bring structure and process. If you are that kind of a person, and definitely you will enjoy the process of business analysis, and it's a lot of learning each area, each project. And someone who are in the middle of their career, I would always say to take charge of your own career, which I always realized is not to wait for the right opportunities or the projects to come to you. Think what you can do, evaluate your business and your department and see where you can bring value, and you take initiatives to drive those initiatives. It could be as simple as standardizing your processes or digitizing a small aspects of your business, but as a as an advisor to your business, step up to that so that the business builds trust on you, and you also have to understand your business more clearly to get
Mm.
into those roles. Yeah, so that's what I would say, somebody who would want to start a BA career and someone who is into a BA career and want to aspire to move up in the ladder.
Yeah, that's good advice because I can imagine some people sit there and wait and tell me what to do.
Mm.
There's so much that can be done. And obviously, starting small, doing little things just to show that you have competency and show that you're doing things.
I would also recommend CBAP certification or ECBA.
Yeah.
For someone who's new to a BA, I think that framework and the thinking process gets so you can relate it to your practical scenarios. I've seen many cases we do business analysis without a proper training. And I always advocate organizations to do a certification training or do a boot camp so that you make sure your resources are, well equipped to do the practice.
Yes, agree. I think people underestimate the value of training. They go, oh, this person's smart enough. But it's not just the single person, it's the entire group has to be on the same page
Yes.
because the artifacts you create, the conversations you have, your understanding of the terms, and all of that matters. So,
Mm.
yeah, I agree. That's
Back to the same point, you will know only when you that's what is missing, only when you do the different way of doing, because maybe you're working, it's working, but it could have been done better if you have,
mm,
that
mm,
skills around how you are
yeah.
doing your work.
Yeah, and you're right. Places like the IABA, they've got a body of knowledge. It's pretty consistent with what business analysts do, and those are really important skill sets to acquire. Okay, last question, and my favorite question. If you, Rajita, could go back in time to a younger you and give yourself some personal advice, what would it be?
Okay, that's a good question. I mean, at this stage of my career and in my personal life, I'm like, I always go to self explore, more of a self awareness I'm working on to know myself. what excites me, who I am, what I can do. So if I look back for my younger self, I would have said that to take charge of your career. As I said, you need to drive your career and ambition rather than waiting for your management or organization to drive through, and always looking for opportunities rather than working on what you are supposed to do. Look for where you can add value, contribute, step up with a purpose of what you are doing, and of course continuous learning. So for me, I would say I have going with the flow as a career, and at some point it struck me, no, I need to know what I can do differently or how I should add more value to the things I am doing. If I would have realized that or had a mentor at that age, that would have supported. So always seek out for mentors because they give you a very good perspective. They give reflection things which you can't normally think about it. So yeah, that's what I would say an advice to me. And take things more lightly and do joyfully, not take
Yeah.
things too seriously.
I always say it depends on what kind of personality type you are. If you like an A type personality, you want to get it all perfect. And then you realize there's no such thing actually. But it's good. It's good to be ambitious. It's good to have goals. It's good to set plans. But I think that you're correct in saying that we need to have mentors. We need to have people that we listen to as well.
Yeah,
That's the important thing because you know what happens when people are young,
you get
they
a lot
don't
of
always
advice.
listen to what people have to say. So there's that part of it too. But I do think a good business mentor that's going to challenge you, but also encourage you is very helpful in a career and very rare. Not everybody is a good mentor. So that's another skill that is a whole different field in itself. Because I always say being a trainer is different to being a mentor, and it's different to being a coach, and it's different to being a leader. Like all of these roles have very specific purposes, and a mentor is a very important role in helping people grow.
Yeah, and just want to add one more perspective as like a working mother. And in your 20 years of career, you've gone through different stages in your personal life and personal life, professional life. So your initial 5 years are very much the learning phase and you want to do a lot of things and opportunity. Then you get into a stage where you have to shift a bit more focus on family and your kids and things. At that time, you bit slow down on taking new opportunities and challenges, and then a phase comes when now you want to come back and do more things and build more community activities. Or so I think everyone goes through that phases of life and stages, so it's different for each one on how they pivot in their career. But whenever, I think it's no benchmark, you should take it as it comes to your way and work towards it. Yeah.
Yes, and that's true because life also happens. It's not just work. There's lots of things going on.
Yeah.
Okay, Rajita, thank you so much for what you've shared today and given me your time. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, maybe ask questions around the IABA in Dubai area, or just want to have a talk around their career or anything like that, what is the best way to get hold of you?
Definitely, I'm very active in LinkedIn, so anyone can reach out to me through a connect request or send me a message. Even my email address is there. So I'd be very glad if someone reaches out to me to be mentored in business analysis or how should they start their career in business. I'll be very happy to. It's very close to me in speaking about business analysis and doing so. I'd be very happy to do so. And I would really like a support to set up the chapter here and establish the business analysis practice stronger in the region.
Mm.
So I would be happy if someone extends the support as well.
Okay, I think that's a good call to action. So anybody that's in the area, and I suppose that would extend to places like Saudi Arabia and so forth as well.
Egypt had a strong chapter before,
Yeah.
but in UAE it was started sometime before it. Then it stops. There's
Mm.
nothing much happening in that
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good call to action. So thank you so much. We'll put the links on the website as well, just so that people can get in touch with you directly. But also, if they are interested in joining you in developing the chapter and so forth,
Yes,
that would be
yes,
great. Yes.
that would be great.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate your time and good luck with all of that. There's quite a bit
Thank
going
you.
on, but
Thank you.
I
It
think.
was very lovely talking to you, Deirdre. Yeah, and it was very casual. And thank you so much for the opportunity to on this platform.